Fearscape Media Network, exploring the unknown, one podcast at a time.
Something dark is here, flying in the skies, lurking in the woodlands, swimming in the rivers, and hiding under your bed. Join me, Mark L. Watson, and Fearscape Media as we delve into the paranormal, the occult, the spiritual, and the esoteric, and peer beyond the veil. Find us everywhere you get your podcasts or search for more information at fearscapemedia.com.
Hello there, my name is Sam.
And I'm the man with no name, Lance Wayne.
And we're the hosts of The Antagonists, an all-villain podcast. You can join us every other Thursday for a new episode as we discuss all of your favorite villains from books, movies, and more.
Are the villains you love to hate really as wicked as they seem? Tune in and find out.
You can find us on all major podcast platforms or join us over on fearscapemedia.com.
Coming to you from nowhere, a suburb of parts unknown. Your ghoulish hosts for an evening of terror, Stefan Gearhart and Lance Wayne, the Misters of the Dark.
Good evening, dear friends. Welcome to another terrifying episode of Misters of the Dark. As always, we're beaming directly to you from nowhere, a suburb of parts unknown. I'm your co-mister, the man with no name, Lance Wayne, and you couldn't have come at a better time. As you may have heard, your headmister, Stefan, contracted the dreaded coronavirus after his refusal to follow Nowhere's mask mandate due to him being medically exempt on account of his third nostril. So into quarantine he went. Being your always safe and precautious co-mister, I've kept him locked up in the East Wing for an entire month. Oh, I know it was only supposed to be for 2 weeks, but I was enjoying the silence.
Lance, hurry your ass up!
Well, all good things must come to an end. Let me just unlock this bad boy. All right, you big baby, you're free to come out now. Stefan? What? Why is it so... Turn on some damn light! Where are you, Stefan? Stefan? Boo! Ah! You bastard! What the hell's wrong with you?
Oh, who's the baby now? I mean, it's the least I can do after being locked up for a whole fucking month.
I was only looking out for the health of others and myself, you jerk!
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it didn't hurt that you had the whole place to yourself for a whole freaking month.
Well,
And honestly, Lance, come on. How could you fall for such a simple jump scare? Come on! Have you really grown accustomed to isolation so soon?
Well, people can change a lot after 1 month, Stefan.
Okay, I suppose so. I have an idea. Since you've seemed to develop into a little bit of a wimp in such a little time, why don't you write down some of the things that you're now afraid of?
I'm not sure if I really care for this idea, Steph.
Come on, wimp. It'll be fun. Now, look, I'll do it too, okay? It's going to be a nice way for us to get to know each other again.
Okay. I think quarantine has only made you even more unbearable.
All right. Okay, Lance, I got my list. I did my civic duty for the house. What have you gotten your 5?
Yes, Stefan, I have my 5.
Okay, pick a number between 1 and 10 to decide who goes first, okay?
10.
I was going to say 10 too. but the number I chose was 1.
See,
So
we don't have to do this. So we're already in sync. So I'll see you later.
No. Okay. You said 10 first. That puts you closer, so you go first.
Okay.
Just kidding. I'm going first. My game, my rules. All right. So we're doing the top 5 things. Okay. This is what we discussed. The top 5 things that are irrational fears that we have had or have of things that aren't meant to be scary. Okay.
Exactly.
Things that we know you have gotten scared of being by yourself. See, I had all the books and all the rats to keep me company. I had Sam in the dungeon right below, so we spoke to each other through.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't. Surprised you didn't kill yourself after having to talk to her for such a length of time.
No, they're one of my new BFFs. Okay, and we had tin can walkie-talkies with a string so that we didn't get corona.
Oh, you're ahead of your time.
Mm-hmm. That's
regular Renaissance man.
Damn right. So I'm gonna go first. Okay, my number five thing that scared me more than anything, and this is a classic. Okay, this is why it's number 5, because it's a classic. Okay, it's clowns. Okay, but this is clowns pre-it. I had a fear of clowns before the Tim Curry one came out. Okay, I went to the circus a couple times, and I thought the lipstick was blood on their mouths.
Oh my god.
And I already had a nasty, horrible fear of vampires at the time. Okay, and so I thought they were messy vampires because they had the pale skin, so I thought they didn't get sunlight.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And they had blood all over their fucking mouth, and so I thought, and then they like didn't talk and stuff. So then I thought they were like the Nosferatu type vampire, and then if they opened their mouth, they'd have like rat teeth.
That's actually a really like interesting connection you made there.
Right.
Like
and then it comes out, and I'm like,
yeah.
That was exactly what I feared.
Have there been any vampire clown movies?
I don't know if there's been vampire
That's a good idea, though. That's like an awesome idea.
Thank you. But my childhood does not thank you.
Well,
especially, which is hilarious, being a comedian now. And now I would love to have clowning classes and things like that, even though they still kind of freak me out when someone else is in makeup. Even like I've had some friends that are clowns that have like actually gone to clowning school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even them, when they're in makeup, freak me out.
So were you like even afraid of Krusty the Clown?
No, he's animated. Animation doesn't scare me.
Okay. Not
like you.
Well, okay. But there's a quote, and this is, I can't remember who said it exactly, but they said like the fear of clowns comes from like them being this like real weird in between of like human and non-human. Well, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's that. I think some of it is and actually you'll see on one of my other fears later on down the road is, you can't see their real face, and they are constantly smiling.
Yeah.
And what is supposed to create trust in a very non-trustworthy world creates distrust, especially in modern times, especially with John Wayne Gacy and things like that. Kids nowadays know these stories already, so that they're already. I mean, when's the last time you saw Ronald McDonald on a commercial?
That's right. Burger King, actually, I posted about it on the Fear Escape Media group, which everybody should check out. We're having a really good time over there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But that Burger King did. I don't think it. I think it was in like Sweden. It was over in Europe somewhere. I don't even think it came over here to the States. They had a marketing campaign throughout, the Halloween season where if you went into their bathrooms, and I can't remember the words exactly. It wasn't Ronald McDonald because they would have been sued then.
Right.
But if you did like this Bloody Mary type of like ritual or whatever, that this like demonic looking Ronald McDonald like clown would like come out at you at the mirror. I don't know how. I think it was done with an app or something. I thought it was really cool though. I thought it was really brave on.
The Burger King is also frightening.
He is terrifying. Yeah.
You know, and well, you know, and it's interesting because you've got different types of clowns too. And what's interesting is that the hobo sad clowns don't freak me out.
I've always thought they were kind of freaky, to be honest.
You know, and I don't know if this has anything to do with like childhood trauma, you know, whereas like, you know, I don't know. Like maybe I understood the sad clown. I was a pretty depressed kid. And it's like, maybe I understood the sad clown. I'm like, no, I understand. I want to get a rucksack and fill it with beef jerky and M&Ms and hop the rails.
Isn't that everybody's dream, though? I don't know, man. For me, I was never afraid of clowns. I was afraid of scary clowns. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ones that, you know, but that's just nothing I can never identify with other people with that is being afraid of clowns. They just never really got.
We talked about this when we had Brad on the show. Is that Killer Clowns was the one that really freaked me out because I already had like a phobia, and that because I didn't watch it until I was maybe like a senior in high school.
Yeah, same here.
I don't know when it came out, like 90 or 91 or whatever, so it would have been like 7 years later. So yeah, I never watched it because, of course, I was freaked out of clowns. I'm like, I don't want to watch this, you know. But I mean, it's also that idea that they're stuck in this emotion, and that just freaks me out. It's like, come on, man. You know, it's like even if you were to kick him in the nuts, he'd still be smiling at you. You know, and that's like, oh, you know what else I didn't even think of that might be the reason is Joker. Joker might have been.
Oddly enough, like even to this day, and I mean, I know he is supposed to be, he's the clown prince of crime. I never see him as a clown though.
I guess not. But when I was a kid, though, he was, because you got to remember, my big reference was Super Friends and the Batman 66 show.
Yeah.
So,
you know, because
he was larger than life and a big clown. And any time that a clown like would squirt something from the water, I remember being a kid at the circus thinking that I was going to get hit with acid.
Yeah, why don't you take a whiff of my posy?
Yeah. So it had to be Joker.
See, because I grew up with Joker. I mean, even with the brilliant Heath Ledger performance, I grew up. I mean, you probably did too.
The Batman animated series.
Well, the Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah, Batman the movie, that was 89. Yeah, for sure. I was 10 when that came out, and then of course, like, within that same year is when the animated series came out.
Yeah, where the Joker wasn't so much. When I was a child, I didn't see him as a clown. I saw him as almost like, I guess, just like a freak of nature.
As a jester, I always saw him as different things.
Yeah,
because I was obsessed with like King Arthur and stuff like that, and being the class clown, I never wanted to be a clown. I wanted to be a jester. And so that's why when the Batman, the cartoon that came out after the Batman animated series, when Joker was kind of like this like ape-like jester, I was like, oh shit. For sure.
I wanted to be a mime.
Mime. Yeah, you know, a lot of people are scared of mimes. They just, I don't know.
Mimes are freakier than clowns, if you ask me.
They don't freak me out at all. I'm like, oh, you're just French.
Well, I'm definitely freaked out now.
Yeah.
The French terrify me. They're on my list.
I don't know. I guess Sigmund Freud, I'm looking at it now. Sigmund Freud popularized the term uncanny as a reason for fear, and that things that were what seemed not real but were real, and clowns and robots kind of fit that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Nearly human things. That's why people get creeped out by dolls and zombies and things like that.
Yeah,
clowns are like this strange morphed version of a human, and it is a very
well, you have that term, the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
You know, with that, but I think that's for like CGI and things like that. But I'm guarantee that's where that term came from.
Yep. There's some doctor that says clowns paint on their smiles and frowns so you can't read their emotions or know what they're thinking. And if a clown has a painted on smile but isn't acting or sounding happy, your brain gets mixed signals. And those of us that are afraid of them, it makes us uneasy.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I never felt safe around a clown. I don't know what it is. I don't know. They still kind of freak me out to this day. So that's my number 5 is clowns.
Okay. My number 5, I don't know if I've brought it up previously. I know I've brought it up to you, like in, just private discussion or whatever, but my number 5 is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the Gene Wilder one.
I never understood this, and you're not the only one.
Listen. One reason I put this down was, well, I was going to put it down regardless, but one thing that really made me think, okay, I don't feel alone, is I was even posting them to the Misters of the Dark Facebook page, which is you should also go and like.
Right.
Let me just say,
as well as social media, MOTD podcast.
Yes, but there was a meme that said Willy Wonka is basically Saw for children, and
I've seen that a million times, and
I thought, yes,
it kind
thank you.
It kind of is, but it's like I thought, as much as I was into like supernatural stuff and occult and serial killers and horror when I was a kid, I never thought that about Willy Wonka. Like and none of us were the age when it came out, so it's not like there's no difference on that.
Man,
so.
I can still tell you the first time I could tell you the first time I ever heard of it and the first time I ever saw it. I remember the first time I ever heard of it, one of my big sister's friends was telling me about it, and she wasn't like meaning it to sound scary or anything like that, but she was like, yeah, a girl turns into a blueberry. And I was just like, what the hell? And she was just saying it. I was just like, what the
You're like, what the hell? I'm gonna go hug my Freddy Krueger doll.
Yeah, really. But the first time I ever saw it, I was staying the night at my grandparents' house, which is gonna come back up on this list in a way. So
it's weird.
Just
your grandparents' house is on my list too. So definitely wasn't mom's place, and it must have been your dad.
No. Yeah, we have a messed up family tree, but
it's weird. There's barely any branches.
Yeah, but we all got ugly sticks. That was lame. Edit that out.
No.
Anyway, I was with my grandma. I was staying the night, and I loved my grandma. I loved my grandparents dearly. I hated staying the night with them though. Almost every time I did, there was a call in the middle of the night, to my mother. You need to come get Lance. He's frightened. But man, I was staying the night once, and before we went to bed, the movie was on TV, and she, I had probably been driving her nuts all day as it was. So she was like, here, sit in front of the idiot box and, watch. I still remember sitting there watching it. It was like, it was like, I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was because I was so petrified. And I remember also thinking, why is my grandmother making me watch this? It just, the Oompa Loompas were freaky. I guess it's the same thing. Like when people say they watch, they were terrified of The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I was never terrified of the Willy Wonka. Well, and like Gene Wilder, and I love Gene Wilder. Don't get me wrong. All the Mel Brooks stuff, everything. But in that movie, I was just,
See, I don't know. I guess for me, I was fascinated. I was fascinated by Willy Wonka because I felt a lot like Charlie. I was a really, really poor kid. I had a parent that was gone, and I went to a Catholic school, but we were the poorest kids in the school. So everybody always had like candy and like this is gonna sound silly, but everybody had string cheese, and I was like, I want string cheese because my dad's like, I'm not paying for that. You know,
you want to go to a string cheese factory,
right?
You want to go,
like
Stefan and the dairy,
dude. I traded my entire lunch one time for one thing of string cheese.
Oh God,
because I wanted it so bad because it was like something I didn't have, so I totally got this, and just this idea of like being able to get away from that dark, awful existence that I lived in. And like owning this chocolate factory and hanging out with Willy Wonka, like I don't know, it did. And then like all the people in the movie, the other kids, reminded me of the kids that bullied me, and so I was like, good, fuck them, good. I hope she blows up as a blueberry. Oh good. God. I hope that bitch dies and turns into yolk. Like,
see, I was
especially Tommy TV. That kid can eat my ass.
I was a brat, so you can understand. Right. You go,
and maybe that's the difference. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it probably is. I just, man.
And it could also be. I mean, it could also be whenever I don't remember the first time I watched it, so it could have been something I watched from when I was real young, so I was already kind of desensitized to it, you know, because I remember it was on TV like all the time. And Wizard of Oz is my dad's favorite movie, so we sure the hell watched that all the time. Yeah, it was like Time Machine is the other movie my dad loved that I love to this day, but the Morlocks scared the crap out of me. Like that was like, I always thought like the Morlocks were in my closet or hiding in the shadows.
Yeah, but the Morlocks are like kind of supposed to be, you know.
Exactly,
scary.
That's what I'm saying.
Honestly, maybe it goes back to the clown thing. Maybe for me, it was something that was kind of dressed up as, you know, something innocent, but for some reason, my young mind, well, my adult mind,
I don't know. I mean,
for what that's worth, I saw something more sinister.
I can get it, especially the Oompa Loompas. And then, of course, the tunnel, the boat tunnel scene, of course, is always
the tunnel.
Frightening. That's what everyone.
I don't know
about being frightened, but I'm like, that was meant to be frightening. So.
One thing that always freaks me out was and honestly, in the film, I'm not even sure if you're really supposed to be led to believe this, but you never saw the children like be rescued or anything. So I always assumed they were dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it was always take them to the special room to get fixed or whatever.
Yeah.
With the exception of Augustus, who just gets sucked up the tube. Like,
yeah.
And Veruca Salt, you don't know what happened to her either. But Tommy TV and Violet both get like escorted out.
Yeah. Just weird.
When he goes off on Grandpa Joe and Charlie. You drank fizzy lifting drink.
You get nothing. Good days.
I said good days. That's one of my favorite lines that I use.
Let's please. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's just go on to your next thing.
Go to my number 4 now.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good one though. All right, so my number 4 would be. Oh, this is gonna be hilarious, but this legit freaked me out. Was drinking holy water.
Are you supposed to drink it?
No, but you can, you know, but I didn't know. And here's why. So I'm in 3rd or 4th grade when Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came out. And remember, I go to Catholic school.
Yeah.
So we go to church every Thursday, like during school. And my dad never went on Sundays, so I never went on Sundays. But every Thursday at school, we'd go, and you always got to genuflect and dip the water and do the cross, which now I do the upside down cross, and it's black oil. It's a whole nother thing. You know, that's what we do in nowhere, okay? That's what we do. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so like we were like, that movie had just come out. And we were all talking, man, about that movie because that part where everybody was drinking the wrong cup of Jesus.
Yeah, that dude melts.
That's the thing about Indiana Jones. It was such a great movie, but there were such scary scenes, like in all of them. Like when the face melts in Raiders of the Lost Ark, I still kind of to this day. But this so apparently if you fuck with God in any way, shape, or form, your whole body melts, which is what happened in Raiders as well as Last Crusade. But anyway, so every day we were like, somebody was just like, y'all, you know that's not the cup of Jesus, that's just a bowl. And we're like, yeah. And they were like, don't get it on your lips. Don't, because if
who was telling you this?
This is what me and my friends were talking about.
Oh, okay. I thought you
like maybe an older kid told us this too. I can't remember. But for weeks we were all freaked out that if this water dripped down into our lips, we would die. You know, we would melt in the middle of service and all this stuff. And so, I mean, this went on for months. That we were all, when we'd go in, we'd be real hesitant, and we'd all do like where we'd put like our hand like right over our eyes so that when like we did the top part with the water on our head, if it dripped down, we could wipe it away real quick. And then one day,
oh man,
my friend Ian goes, "I'm sick of being afraid."
Oh, dude.
And we were like,
better time to nut up or shut up.
Do it, man. And we had just read something in religious class about the faith of a mustard seed or whatever. He's like, no, I believe I'll make it. I believe I'll make it. We were like, we don't believe that you'll make it. Okay, don't do it, man. Don't do it. And like he had like at recess, dude wrote out a will. And
oh my God,
wrote out a will.
Good Lord.
I was supposed to get his New Kids on the Block hit clips and all kinds of crazy stuff. So Thursday rolls around and like we all do the thing, and then we just watch Ian, and he just scoops that water, dude, and just splashes it back and takes a big old drink, and we all scream. Like we were like waiting for him to die. And so of course, being a dumb kid, he's like, we're like, and so we're yelling for our teacher, some nun, I don't remember who it was, but we're like, oh my God, Ian's
I'd be more scared of the nun.
Ian's dying and all kinds of stuff. And then he's like, I'm fine. And then we were like, oh my God, you're Jesus. And so none of us tried it still because we thought he just had the faith of a mustard seed. And so legit, we stayed scared of that for quite a long time. But Ian was like the tightest dude for like that whole year. We were just like, you are the most amazing dude.
You crazy Catholics, man.
Yep. So yeah, my big fear was drinking holy water because of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That's my number 4.
I don't know how I'm going to top that, to be completely honest with you. My number 4. This is yet again, it's something else we've talked about before, but Disney's Pinocchio.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear this one. I'm going to take a guess, all right, before you even tell me, and say it's the when he turns into a donkey.
Exactly.
I knew it.
Oh my God, exactly.
You are such an ass, and I don't know why that bothers you.
You're welcome.
And you know, oddly enough, okay, here's the story.
And he gets drunk, right? Like that's the whole.
Yeah, and smoke cigars and stuff like that. But here's the thing, I didn't grow up watching Pinocchio. It never, you know.
Again, here's the problem then, right?
Yeah. I'm like, we never had it. It never came on TV. It was just one of the Disney films I missed. But okay, I'm like in my early 20s, and I'm taking classes at the community college. One of those classes is a film class, and we got assigned to watch this film. That was one of the films we had to watch was Disney's Pinocchio. So I'm like, all right. So me and my girlfriend at the time, we rent it.
So legit at this point, you have not seen this movie.
I mean, I've seen when you wish upon a star. Sure, I knew
for all the Disney like remake stuff, sure. But yeah, like this was not like a movie you really watched when you were a kid. Okay.
No. So we watch it, And I was just mortified after it. Like, the part, I mean, like, what freaked me out at first was the puppeteer or whatever that, like, kidnaps them.
Mm-hmm.
It throws them in that cage and is like, if you ever escape, I'm gonna butcher you. And he throws that, you see that, like, those other puppets, and he like throws a friggin' axe through one of them. And you're like, my God, that's like Pinocchio's second cousin or something, probably. That freaks me out. And oh my God, the donkey scene. That damn donkey scene.
So we are not to take a trip together to Tijuana.
No. Never.
You'll be like, no, Pinocchio.
Oh,
Get
God.
that out of her. Get that out of her.
Oh my God.
Dude, here's the thing. Have you ever seen the was it Don Bluth? No, it was a Filmation movie called Pinocchio and the Emperor of the Night.
No, I haven't.
I have it on VHS. But it is on like I think Tubi or FilmRise. You need to watch this. So this was like a sequel to Pinocchio, but done
like
by Filmation.
like an unofficial sequel or something?
Oh yeah, but done by Filmation. It was a first run movie. My dad took us to go see it because my dad, who doesn't research anything, thought it was going to be Disney. This thing was dark as hell. Like, I'm pretty sure that some of the Don Bluth animators were part of this because it's a very similar animation.
Yeah.
And like Tom Bosley is Geppetto, Ed Asner's in it, Tim Curry is the voice of the bad guy.
Of course.
Yeah. And
it's 80s and it's animation.
I think. Well, let me double check and make sure that's Tim Curry. No, I apologize. It's not Tim Curry. It is James Earl Jones.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yes, he's the Emperor of the Night. And frickin' Don Knotts plays G. Willikers, which is basically Jiminy Cricket.
Oh, my God.
Okay. And Scott Grimes, who you would know, he's a redhead. He's on Family Guy. He was on Critters. Will Scarlet and the newer Robin Hood. He's in the Orville and all kinds of stuff like that. Anyways, he was a little kid. He did the voice of this. But anyways, this was scary as hell. And like, I was a little bit scared. It came out in 87, so I was like 8, but I was there with my dad. But my sister was freaking crying through the whole thing. She was so because it's that good dark 80s animation, but it was meant for kids.
Yeah.
But it's so freaking good. I highly recommend it. And they revisit a lot of stuff. And of course, he gets in trouble again, and he ends up getting transformed back into a wooden puppet, like, because he screws up and does some stuff. Like, you gotta check it out, dude. It's crazy. So, but just to add to your even Frank Welker does a voice on here, man.
Huh.
Yep. So, but yeah, it's damn good. But that's Pinocchio and the Emperor of the Night. So if you would have seen that, I would have understood. But Disney, come on, you wuss.
Well, just to wrap it up, later on in that same film class, the teacher was kind enough to, show us some clips from the film we already watched.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those clips was the donkey scene, which I kindly got up and said, I have to use the restroom.
God. Does it still bother you?
Still, man.
Wow.
I cannot watch it. And maybe it goes back to the Willy Wonka thing because I was a brat and I have all this guilt.
It's funny because I love The Exorcist. I love the book. I love the movie, but it still bothers me. Like, to the point, like, if I come across a picture of Linda Blair in full makeup just looking at the camera, I have to quickly turn the page or click off the web page. Like, it still bothers me to this day.
All right. Well, again, let's stop talking about this. What's your number 3?
Yeah, number 3. Let's go with my number 3, I guess, would be costumed characters. And I know that this is similar to clowns because I don't know what they're doing. Like, this still bothers me. Like, when I went to Disney, like, that's
what I was gonna ask. Yeah,
the only one I hugged was Mickey. because I was 27. Because I never went to Disney when I was a kid. I grew up watching Disney Channel, all that stuff. And so I always said, if I go to Disney World, the first thing I'm going to do is hug Mickey. And so I told all my friends, so that's what we did. I hugged Mickey. But everybody else, like Baloo freaked me out. I don't know. I just didn't trust the way that
Baloo?
I didn't trust the way that his belly moved. Like I don't know. But costume characters, man. And I remember being a kid. And it was like, because I didn't like clowns, so I was not a fan of Ronald McDonald. Well, when I was a kid, I don't know if this happened. I don't know if you had this when you were a kid or not. But McDonald's used to do big birthday parties, like you could have your huge birthday party there, and the playlands actually used to be very different. They were all like set up in McDonald land, and
I mean, there was
not basically mini Discovery Zone.
Yeah, what I always remember is, wasn't there like a tree that had like a face and stuff?
The big tree that would talk
I remember
to
that.
you. There was Mayor McCheese and all that stuff. Well, anyways, sometimes at the birthday parties, some costume characters would come out, and Grimace freaked me out more than anybody. And again, another thing, got a big belly. I probably didn't trust the way it moved. Like,
you think he had 8 children or something?
It was like a double whammy, dude. It was like, for my birthday, the 2 characters they brought out were Ronald and Grimace, and I was like,
holy shit.
I was like 6, and I just ran and hid in the tree, and like nobody understood what was going on, because I couldn't explain that it was clowns and costume characters, because I was sick.
you didn't know how to self-analyze or whatever.
Yeah, so like, man, just costume characters, and they still kind of make me uneasy. It's the same thing, like someone who's taller than me weirds me out, and being 6'5", like I'm not used to looking down, I'm not used to looking up, and I don't know, costume characters are very, very similar. And they just make me uneasy. It's that same thing, because I can't see what's going on, and they stay in that same, like.
Well, now I've noticed, just from like clips I've seen and stuff, that the Mickey, the Mickey costume they have now at Disneyland or World or whatever, now it's like eyes move. And like the eyelids close and stuff like that.
I feel like that wouldn't bother me as much, because I guess
it's showing more expression.
I'm in, like, when I was at like Chuck E. Cheese and stuff like that, loved it. I loved animatronics. I loved puppets. I was huge into Jim Henson and the Muppets and Sesame Street, and I always had puppets. So I think, like, because I knew that it was controlled by someone or something, like, but I just didn't trust that the person that was inside that suit wouldn't kill me. And again, probably from watching Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up, is especially Michael Myers, because Michael Myers, like, his mask, like the hockey mask, shows no expression or anything like that.
But you still see his eyes a lot
of
times.
The Michael Myers mask, it has that face that's just like completely, what's the word I'm looking for?
Shatner.
Shatner. Yeah, but it's just like,
it's blank.
It's just it's just blank. It's just like, it's not happy, it's not sad, it's
just a blank face, and it's extra creepy. That's what makes, in my opinion, that first actor that played the body in the very, very first one, because he made that blank face come alive. Like none of the other actors did. Like, there was just something about it. But and maybe it is, like I said, maybe it was, Mike Myers and stuff like that, or something else, or, just monster movies in general. I don't know.
Yeah.
But costume characters, man, they still, like I said, they still make me uneasy, Like when we were at Kings Island and Snoopy kind of rolled by, I was like, "You're back the fuck up."
Oh,
and I love Snoopy. I love Snoopy, but I was like, if you fucking touch me, man, I'm gonna cut you.
Oh, Snoopy. All right, well, my number 3, and this is like kind of oddly specific, and I have it, I'm just going to say it the exact same way I have it written down. Abandoned, dilapidated barns.
Barns specifically.
Yeah. Yes.
It's weird, because growing up in the city, I have abandoned, dilapidated houses. So I feel like they're very similar.
So were you like afraid of those?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just buildings in general, like because we had this, and I don't mean to get into your.
No. I find it interesting.
Yeah, it's like we had this old like paper factory or something. My brother was just telling me it was a number of things. It was like a school at one point, but my whole childhood it was just an empty ass building.
Yeah,
that sat up on this like little hill. And like whenever you would break into it or whatever, you'd always see like homeless people sleeping in there and stuff like that. And so we all had stories that homeless people were in there eating dogs and just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, we were just like, that sucker was haunted. The abandoned house that never got sold down the street, like like a street over, man, it was just freaky, dude. Like, I don't know, like, I guess it's because for me, they were once occupied. And so it makes them still feel occupied, because new houses that are brand new and no one's lived in don't make me feel that way.
See, the barn, where I grew up, we had one. It wasn't in our backyard. Like there's our backyard, and then there's this long gravel driveway that went to a house like to people that lived like kind of back farther from us, and then across from that, Old Man Withers. But then across from that was this, for years, they finally knocked it down when some new people moved in. There was this old dilapidated barn, and it just, for years, I could not be outside by myself because that thing just freaked me out.
I don't
never
blame you on this one at all.
And like, I don't know, because I didn't really watch up until that point. I didn't really watch anything that was like centered around a barn. The only thing I can think of is what
was Critter. Didn't they crash into a barn?
I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen that.
Or Back to the Future.
Well, yeah, back. But there was do you remember this episode of Tales from the Crypt? It has Patricia Arquette in it. And she's living with like this abusive couple that own a farm.
That definitely sounds familiar, because I do remember seeing her.
And I think it's been a while since I've watched it also, but like for some reason they're like holding her captive, and to make them think that she's losing her mind, she'll go out around this barn where there's this scarecrow.
Yeah.
And like
the episode called Four-Sided Triangle.
And like she acts like it's like her boyfriend or something.
It says, listen to this description. It says, Farmer George is attracted to Mary Jo, the nubile young woman who helps out with the chores. The problem is she's in love with a scarecrow.
yeah. And I'm just going to spoiler. I mean, it's like it's got to be 20 years old. It was
directed, though, get this, by Tom Holland, the guy that wrote
really?
Child's Play, Thinner,
yeah,
all sorts.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Yeah. But it ends up because at one point you think like you see her like dancing with the scarecrow, and you're like, oh shit, the scarecrow really is alive. Well, it ends up being the pervy old guy. And somehow his wife ends up like stabbing him with a pitchfork through the stomach. I don't know. That's the only connection I can make. Well, and also after I got older and, because like I'm a lot like you. We talked about this a couple of days ago when we were making the lists. Because you said, I've always been into like this scary shit. So it's kind of hard for me to, and I've always loved monsters and stuff growing up. I didn't start getting into like the Freddy's and the Jasons and things like that till I was probably about 12.
Yeah. So, same. I was fascinated, but I was still really too scared.
Same here.
Because I watched them and they scared me. I can remember watching, I walked into my friend's house and her mom was watching on TV Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and it was the school bus scene. And I remember like the next day being like, I'm not getting on this school bus.
Yeah. But I remember up the road, because where I'm from, there's a barn about every 25 feet, you know.
Yeah.
But
no, that's
there used
Kentucky, and not only that, you drive on any highway or road outside
Yeah.
of Louisville, and there's just old dilapidated barns.
Yeah, but there used to be this one that was down the road, and me and my friends, like kids that lived across the street and stuff, we would always walk down that road because I mean, town wasn't that far or anything. But there used to be this barn, kind of far off next to this church, and we always used to call it the Leatherface Barn. I'm not sure why.
That was your first problem right there.
Well, yeah, but we always did. And I remember, like, when we were all together, we were all kind of like, oh, there's a Leatherface Barn. But then if I was like walking by myself, I would just stand there and kind of look at it. I was like, what if some dude wielding a chainsaw does just bust out of that? What the hell am I going to do?
Oh my God. That's like that old building I told you about, like, my friend Nikki and her and I were like we ran the neighborhood, right? We were, I think we were the oldest. Like, she was 2 years older than me, but
y'all had a racket going, huh?
Yeah, we did though. And everyone dared us to go into that building, and we were like, we're going to do it. And so we took our bikes and we went all the way there. We got to the door and we stood there for probably 20 minutes going, you open the door. No, you open the door. You open the door. Fuck it. Let's just tell them what we saw.
Yeah.
And we went and we came back and we told this story about how we saw this homeless guy and he was eating a dog, and there was like this whole thing, and everybody was like, you guys are so brave. And like, you know what? I don't even know if my sister knows that I didn't actually go in there. Gosh, if you're listening, oops.
Yeah. No, now cat's out of the bag, or the dog.
That's funny.
God, that's why people tune into this show.
Did you ever, speaking of scarecrows, have you ever seen the TV movie Dark Knight of the Scarecrow from 1981?
I've seen the Goosebumps. There's a Goosebumps episode.
This is good though. It's really good. It's got Charles Durning in it, and I think you'll like it. It always makes a lot of lists for like scariest TV movie, and it's messed up. And it's basically a dude that they turned into a scarecrow, and then they killed him, and it's just messed up. And it's really good. But I was gonna say, my two favorite barn horror movies that I immediately think of when I think of barns that scare me is Pumpkinhead.
Oh, I love Pumpkinhead.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Those are like the two.
I think I've seen that years ago.
Because, dude, that's where she's like, her head's all broken and she's moving all around in the barn, and she's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're like, wow. So, like, those are what I think of with the barns, and Dark Knight of the Scarecrow as well. But yeah,
I need to check it out.
Pumpkinhead, for sure. Pumpkinhead.
Oh, I've loved Pumpkinhead, even back when I was like I said, like 10, and I was just starting to kind of get into the,
Oh yeah,
the gorier stuff.
Pumpkinhead is that all the sequels are just as good because Pumpkinhead's not that great, really, at the end of the day. So all the sequels are just the same quality, and you're like, hell yeah.
I don't know, man. I think the first one, it was directed by Stan Winston, man. I mean, it definitely has like it definitely has some charm to it, but I don't know. I do like the sequels, just good, stupid fun.
Yeah, I like them. I love the Pumpkinhead movies. All right, so we're down to our last two. So my last two could go either way, because my number one could either be the funny one or the legit one. So which should be my number one, the funny one or the legit one? I mean, they're both legit. I mean, I both got scared, but one's funny.
I whatever you feel like, man. My last two, one is kind of like, I feel like everybody has a sort of a fear of it, but my number one is something that's completely me. Nobody else, even my immediate family, thinks I'm ridiculous for feeling this way.
I'll save my funny one then for number one, because it's similar. Now, I'm not scared of it anymore by any means, but when I was a kid, no one understood why, and I was too embarrassed to tell them why. So we'll go with my number two, which is my legit, and I still have some issues with this to this day, is furnaces. So,
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
So I have a fear of furnaces because of Freddy Krueger.
Oh, yeah.
But my basement when I was a kid was also, of course, scary. It was an unfinished basement. It was moldy and gross and just shit down there. We had this door. The house was built in the 20s, and there was a door that went like in the basement that went underneath the porch. And I think we opened it like one time right before we moved, and it had just like old jars of like canned tomatoes and canned shit, like from whoever lived there at one point and left all their canned shit in there.
But to you, they were probably like fetuses.
Right. But when I was a kid,
Hearts.
I had an irrational fear of the Frankenstein monster and Dracula. But Frankenstein's monster, I always believed like lived under my bed, which was funny because at the time I had no under the bed. It was just a mattress on the ground, but I still thought he was under there. Then when I moved into the house with my dad after my mom left, I think my brother told me that the Frankenstein monster lived in that room. And so I was always scared to go in. Anyways, so the furnace was the same furnace that was built in the 20s. So it was this huge octopus furnace. Like that just, I mean, when that fire came on, it was like,
oh man.
And it would light up, and it was just like
Home Alone.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
Home Alone I get because it was just like mine, and it would light up and all the stuff. Well, the other thing was we had those, since it was an old house, had the old furnace grates with the wide openings, you know what I mean? It was like diamond shapes, big wide opening. And of course, those little flapper doors that were on there, those were all broken, gone. And so I used to, and it was deep. And I was always like, I swore I could see Freddy or ghosts or anything staring at me through those grates every night, because the way my bed is it faced the bedroom door, and then right next to the bedroom door was that grate. So the light from the bathroom, which we always had to keep on, kind of spilled right in and just illuminated the front of the grate, but made behind it dark. And I mean, and so, like, whenever I'm at an old house or anything like that, if I see those old grates, I still get a little paranoid, because I'm like, man, you can fit fingers in there and Freddy can chop them off.
Oh, like, God.
All kinds of stuff, man. And then, like, my sister, was able to talk to ghosts from a little kid, and she was just like, they stare at you at night. And I'm like, oh my God. So here I am thinking spirits are in this, even though I know that it's just a wall that's probably 5 inches thick, because the bathroom's on the other side. To me, it's like the people under the stairs. It's like this whole big secret area.
Intricate.
In those old houses where there's like big tunnels and shit like that. Like, that's the way my kid brain worked. And and as soon as that furnace would kick on, my brain says that all the air moving through there was pushing Freddy, was pushing these spirits, because Freddy's afraid of fire, that he's moving to come look at me. So anytime I heard that furnace kick on, dude, I would just shake. Like, and then, man, like that freaking octopus furnace, I thought it was like this big octopus, like the Kraken, and it was just like,
a Lovecraftian monster or something.
Yeah, and I know my brother probably told me so much stuff, because I feel like I remember being told that if I went down there by myself, it would eat me, because my brother would constantly push me in front of the door and then shut it and lock it. And
God.
And I would be so scared, man, so scared that the monster was going to get me, or Freddy, or Frankenstein's monster was going to get me. Like,
well, it's kind of odd that you bring that up, because my second is basements.
Yeah, and I almost said basements, but like it was just specifically my basement. Like, so I don't know.
And I've always been afraid of my parents' basement. Even when I was little, But this is what was like really the final nail in the coffin, so to speak, of like me being petrified of it. My sister had a nightmare once about the basement. And like she used to tell me the story when I was really little, where there was a man that lived down in our basement named Samuel, and you could see his brains.
Brainhead.
Yeah, but like they were like there's a gash.
No wonder you like dumb girls. Yeah. Afraid of brains.
I'm not gonna elaborate on that but anyway, yeah, so that freaked me out, and I'd always been kind of freaked out by my basement. And then I remember as a teenager, when my sister had moved out for college, we had the computer was in the basement. And I was still a little creeped out by the basement, but I was like, "Oh, I'm a teenager." Blah, 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 blah.
I'm totally okay.
Yeah, and I was
hair on my balls.
And I was on this is back in the days of AOL, so like I'd go down there and stay on the internet and whatnot.
Dude, a lot of people had the freaking internet shit in their basement, which for like teens was like perfect.
Yeah, I used to have a friend. Like God's honest truth, I never looked up pornography on it. I had a friend who would come over and ignore me the entire time and do nothing but look up pornography the whole night.
Oh yeah, we would go over to my friend, delete name because I'm not gonna say who it is because he listens to the show. But we used to go over to his house, and after he would go to sleep, because we all slept. He had this huge basement, so like it was like a finished basement. So we all slept on like the 5 couches out there and stuff. As soon as his ass went to bed, we were on his AOL and looking up porn. And then we had found that like old like AOL groups, like people would email you pictures and stuff.
Oh my god. But anyway, so I'm down there. It's late at night, and I'm doing whatever, and I'm looking through some of the documents that I've been saved to the computer. Well, my sister, before she went to college, obviously she was in high school, so she would do some of her schoolwork on there. Well, of course, I stumble across a short story she happened to write called Samuel. Oh, so yeah.
How funny
needless
that
to
one of your closest friends is named Sam.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, so that didn't help me much. And I'm still a little eerie about it today because I go down there and I'm a little apprehensive. But then I saw the 3rd season of Channel Zero.
Oh, freaking good.
That didn't help at all. Where there's that
we should totally cover Channel Zero.
I know. I was thinking about it today when I was writing my list. And
3rd season's the one with the doors, right?
Yes.
Because the second one, I was like, meh. 1st and 3rd, though, no. Wait, there's 4 seasons, I thought.
There's 4. Yes, there is. There's 4. Yeah, 4. I'm sorry.
Because the 3rd season was the one I didn't care for, but 1, 2, and 4, I loved.
But there's that crazy clown thing in the basement.
Oh my god, what was his name? It was like Bendy or
Mr. Stretchy or something. Or
God, he was so creepy. It creeped me out so much because I already don't like clowns.
Yeah.
And then even when he's like trying to be nice, you're still like,
yeah,
fuck you, man.
yeah.
I watched that whole thing by myself at night. Oh my god.
A lot of fucking in that season too.
Yes.
like almost uncomfortably. Like it's just like there'd be a scene of them eating dinner and then it's just like banging on the table.
Yeah. Boom. And they went to town.
They were not holding back, man.
Pretzel Jack.
Jack.
What an
Pretzel Jack.
Awful name.
Well, she's the lady who made, not to give too much away, but the girl that made them up, she was supposed to be like little when she. Yeah. All right, but yeah, that's my number 2.
I wanted to add to that real quick, by saying, so I, like I said, I had a fear of some basements. If they were, so a lot of the basements in my neighborhood were very similar. So of course they kind of freaked me out, but one in particular. So 2 streets over was a street called Gibbons. It was a lot poorer of a neighborhood. It was almost as if like it went like there were 4 streets. There was Champion, Eldred, Dale Street, and Gibbons. And it was like Champion was like the richer of this poor neighborhood. Eldred was the next. I would say Eldred and Dale had similar kind of, but Gibbons was like dirty and gross. It stunk. Like the whole street just smelled of mildew. Like, and it was just weird. But anyways, this friend of mine lived there, and we got invited to go over to their house. And so I went over there, and the mom was like, "Oh, if you want a Coke, there's some in the basement." And I'm like, "Okay." Well, I fell down the stairs and got the wind knocked out of me for the first time.
Lord.
And I blacked out, and then I woke up and I couldn't breathe. And this is one of the first times I realized I had some sort of like psychic gift, because I saw all these spirits around me.
Jesus, Stefan.
Serious, man. Like, I have, when traumatic things like that happen, like physical pain, things like that happen, that's when the gift comes out. And I saw like these shadow creatures all staring over me, and I freaked the fuck out. I was freaking out, and I couldn't move because I had the wind knocked out of me, and I didn't know what that was, because I'd never had that happen before. And that definitely added to the fear of basements, because my brain is thinking, oh my God, this is what Tommy was talking about, my brother. I'm thinking, Lord, this is what he was talking about.
Isn't it odd that we both fear basements and we both have older siblings that made us terrified of?
Yep, made us terrified. But it's funny because he like decently likes horror. I mean, he's kind of like any like average Joe. Oh yeah, I'll watch a horror movie. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
When he's the reason I'm into it, like. It was him, and his best friend's sister was into special effects in Hollywood. Yeah. I told you about that. Yeah. So there was that too. But okay, so my number one then. I can't believe I have not told you, my half brother. I have never told you this, because this is long before your time. This is before Mom left me. Okay, when I lived in the projects with her. Is Spock from Star Trek.
You being such a Star Trek
I love Star Trek. That's what I
enthusiast.
said. He does not bother me in any way, shape, or form now. And in fact, what I'm about to tell you, I've never told anyone.
Oh, here's an exclusive, everybody.
Here's an exclusive, and it's also why I think he's such a baller now.
Here it is. This is worth the price of admission.
I'm 3.5, 4 years old, had to be, because I had just been maybe just turned 5 at the most, because I moved in with my dad at 5. Okay, so somewhere in between this 2 years is when this happened. And I go over, and there was this Asian kid, okay, that lived in the projects, because it legit, my family and his family were the only non-Hispanic or non-African-American family that lived in the area we lived in. And so, that's why he stands out to me, I guess. But I had this little Asian friend. And so I go over, and his family had chickens that lived in the backyard of the projects, and I watched the dad cut this fucking chicken's head off and watched it run around and all kinds of stuff like that. So you'd think I have fear of chickens, but I don't.
Yeah, really, yeah.
But anyways, he's like, Stefan, I want to show you something. I found this in my dad's closet. And so we run up, there's like woods behind the house. So we go off and run down into the woods, and he pulls out of his back, out of his pants, he pulls out a dirty magazine. And the dirty magazine has a Star Trek thing, a section where there's like nudies of people dressed up like Star Trek characters.
Yeah.
At this point, Star Trek was on reruns all the time. Plus, I can remember watching the animated series. I watched Star Trek all the time, and so I knew who Spock was. And there was this scene in there where it was Spock and Uhura, because I remember, because it was a black chick, it was Uhura, so it was Spock and Uhura, and Spock is she's laying on this bed with her legs wide open, and he is doing a back bend and then going down on her backwards, right? So he's doing this backwards down thing, And I had no idea what a vagina was
Oh my god.
at all. So I'm like, because the next scene is him flipped back regular and he's got his face in there and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is he doing? Why would you want to be between somebody's legs? That's where they poop. Like, that's what my brain.
Oh my god.
That's where they poop and pee. And my buddy was like, oh no, he's eating her out. And I'm like, oh my god. And I thought it was legit.
Spock's a cannibal.
You just nailed it on the head. I thought that Spock was eating her and was a cannibal. And because I thought it really was Spock and really Uhura at the time.
I was really Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have actor names to me.
Yeah, yeah.
I really thought. And then a couple years later, I justified it to myself.
Can I use the restroom real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. God, I've been holding it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll pause. And so, like I said, it's like, so years later, I justified it because I still had no idea what a vagina was. And I actually would not.
Till your 40s.
Right. Till I got married. But no, I didn't really see a naked anything until I was like 10 or 11 again. So this would have been, years later, which was the Vanna White Playboy edition, which is a story for another time.
She did wait. She did a Playboy?
Oh yeah.
Vanna White? I had never heard of this.
Okay, fuck it. I'm going to tell you this story. Sidebar, but don't let me forget to tell you my justification, okay?
Okay.
Sidebar. So Ian, the guy that drank the holy water, I stayed the night at his house, and because he told me, he's like, dude, you want to stay the night this weekend? I got to show you something that's really fucking cool.
It's really important.
He's like, do you like Wheel of Fortune? And I'm like, yes, I love Wheel of Fortune. And I'm already at this point kind of like, pretty excited about girls and stuff. And so we get to his house and we go ride bikes. And I swear to God, we rode forever. And I'm like, Ian, where are we going? He's like, don't worry, it's gonna be awesome. And so we go past the railroad tracks and like into the woods. And he pulls out, I kid you not, a paper map, like a pirate map. Okay. And he's like following it. He gets to this point and then he pulls out like this little shovel, this little spade out of his backpack, and he digs this hole.
Good Lord,
and
man.
Out of there is this like grocery bag, like or some sort of plastic bag, and like he pulls it out and inside is a Playboy.
You all were really repressed in the 80s, weren't you?
Catholic, man.
Okay, yeah.
Like, so he must have stole this from his dad and then motherfucking went and buried this sumbitch to where he could only see it, because we were too young to be wanking off or anything, so just looking at it.
Yeah.
Anyways, he pulls it out and it's the Vanna White edition, and so he was like, in this, Vanna White is naked. And I'm like, nuh-uh. And I knew what Playboy was. Were you like Pat Sajak too?
No.
Only Alex Trebek.
True.
So my first like boobs that I really remembered, because like, I was like 3 or 4 with the Spock thing, so I always don't count that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Vanna White was my first like set of boobs like that I watched, and then of course I was obsessed with the woman's naked body after that. And I like for like a solid 2 months, whenever my family would watch Wheel of Fortune,
that's what I was gonna say.
I would turn red, and like my dad would be like, I mean, I know she's cute, but and I'm like,
Stefan, why are you watching Wheel of Fortune again? Stefan?
Again. Anyway, so around this time, because Playboy didn't show vaginas, rarely ever, and I still hadn't seen one at that point, nor had I ever seen pornography. So my justification over the years of eating out a girl was like, well, that's dumb. She'd be dead. Like they wouldn't, my brain was all like, she'd be dead. What the hell? So in my brain, my justification was that it regenerated.
Oh, dude.
That women had a special regenerative power, which is why they were able to give birth. they regenerated themselves inside their belly, and the baby came. And that's how, if a man went down on her and ate her out, it would regenerate. And I guess I thought it gave him powers. I don't know. But yeah.
No, if anything, it takes them away.
So needless to say, to swing this whole conversation back, Spock scared the shit out of me for a solid at least 2 years. I couldn't watch Star Trek because I was afraid he was going to eat Captain Kirk, or if him and Uhura had a scene together, just get out. I was just like, she's going to die later and she doesn't even know it. He's going to eat her. Like, that's my brain. That was...
Can you pull up another Freud article, you know? Because he would have a field day with this.
Oh my God. So, my little...
Do you still think of that? Like every time you see Spock? Like in an episode or anything?
Not as much anymore, but I did for a very, very long... I mean, I can still see the picture in my head. I can't see boobs, I can't see anything, but I remember it was like this red background, and it was one of the beds from the medical bay. Like, that's where she was like spread out on, but that's about all I remember. And I remember his hair and the ears and everything, and Uhura still had the thing in her ear, like while he was bent backwards, chewing on her vagina like bubble gum.
Oh man, well at least it wasn't oh shit, what's his name? Jar Jar.
Yeah,
That would have been terrifying.
That's why I said my number one was the funny one, because it was Spock, and I was scared of Spock for a long time. And so if anybody at like Halloween dressed up as Spock, I was scared they were a cannibal and like all kinds of crazy stuff, because cannibals, just the whole idea freaked me out. Okay,
well, again, I don't know how I'm going to top that after that. But mine is, and I told you this is going to come back around, my sister's house.
The one she's in now?
Yeah, see, okay. Where my sister, you know, built her house. I mean, she didn't build it herself, obviously. She wasn't out there. Yeah.
I mean, I know she's badass, dude.
Yeah. Cold-blooded killing machine.
She got to design and build her home.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's
Must be
on.
Fucking nice.
Yeah, really, man. She saved my God. But it's where she has her house is where my grandparents had their house, because they got really, when my grandparents passed away.
So she didn't have to pay for a lot or anything like that, because she already had the land.
Yeah, she already had the property.
So she tore down the house?
Yeah, because it was falling apart.
Which is why you were scared then.
Well,
so now is this put on the exact same spot?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm with you.
But even when I was a child, I was just terrified of this house. It was just. It had 2 floors, and
what you didn't know is that it was secretly built on a Native American burial ground.
And I've thought about that, because there's no reasoning, and like to feel that way as a child is one thing, because you're scared of everything when you're a kid. You know what I mean? But to feel that way now at 32, and in a brand new house. I just find it incredible.
My house was I was scared of my house, not just because of the furnace and stuff. Just my sister could see ghosts, and we did research, and one of the ghosts she saw, we found a news article on, and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. But it was built where the Toledo in the 1800s started really expanding. And so they expanded outside of downtown and outside of this area and began building neighborhoods. Well, the original Toledo Cemetery was where my neighborhood was. And so they moved to the cemetery. And now supposedly they moved everything. And from everything that we could find, that there was lore that it was also a Native American burial ground, which is why the white man decided to turn that into a cemetery, because it was already sacred ground. But yeah, like my brother had a metal detector. We used to find coffin handles.
Oh, Lord.
Like all kinds of stuff like that. But we never found like anything big. I legit pretty sure they moved everything. But that whole neighborhood, like for like a mile, was all just haunted. I mean, even like I said, that house where I fell down the steps, same area. Like, so those could have been just like dead folk.
Yeah.
There.
Well, and also, and we've talked about this before, not off air or whatever you want to call it, but just up the road, I mean, it's not even a mile. There's this wooded path that is supposedly haunted by someone
named Pretzel.
Well, this is just hearsay. This is just rumor, but it's supposedly haunted by somebody my great grandfather killed.
Oh, this is that story.
Yeah,
you were wanting to share with the other Stefan from Fearscape.
Yeah, but he keeps blowing me off.
Yep, it keeps blowing me. So.
Lucky
back and everything.
Yeah. Does he do the Spock where he?
No, it's not backwards. It's forward.
You ought to ask him. But I hear he's pretty limber.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess I don't know. I guess a part of me maybe just like connects those two. I mean, it is. I mean, even as recent as it was over the summer. I was out there with my mother and father, and there was something, I don't know. My sister wanted us to like move some wood outside or something like that, and I here we go again. I hate going into the basement at that house, and for some reason I had to go get something from the basement. And last I saw my mother and father, they were outside. They were, doing whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to grab this shit from the basement, and I'm hauling ass and getting back outside. Well, I get down to the basement, grab whatever it is, run back up the stairs, and my mother just happened to come in. And I saw her, and I'm not going to lie, I went, oh! And I almost gave my mom a heart attack. But yeah, I don't know, man. I've thought maybe to look it up.
Yeah, I was about to say you should look it up. Like, how long was that property in your family?
I mean that's where my mother and my uncles grew up and stuff. So I mean,
that makes you wonder if it went, and even if it's not part of your family and you're just connecting the wooded path, like what if the reason you're scared of the basement is because like what if the old house was like an old mortuary or something, or a funeral home, and that's where like the crematorium was and like all that shit, and that's why you don't like the basement even at the new house.
Well, and sometimes I find myself wondering if I'm connecting it. Because like I said, it's not even a mile. There's that wooded area. Mm-hmm. And oddly enough, I have always had nightmares about that wooded area to this day. I mean, I don't have them like every night or whatever, but I will have a reoccurring nightmare where I'll be walking down that wooded area. I wonder if there's somehow.
That explains why our first kill you wanted to do in the woods.
Can you pull up that Freud thing again? See if maybe.
Yeah. It says you like to eat the vaginas.
No, you're going.
Chew it like bubble gum.
Oh my!
I feel like that's what Spock sounded like.
Like a beam.
all right, I will let you go. Okay, those were 5 good things. I think that was good. We now know more about each other. We
do.
Brothers,
I feel like
took a long time, and now we know new things that we've never shared with each other. So I think that I don't know, do you want to watch a movie or something?
Maybe.
All right.
And with that, dear friends, we come to the end of another delightfully disturbing episode of Misters of the Dark. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you to the Fearscape Media Network, and thank you to Corey Adams and Ashley Jones Adams from Nothing Wrong for our musical theme. All right, Stefan. Now that we have that lovely little exercise out of the way, let's say we just get things back to normal around here, huh?
I could not agree more, Lance. But wouldn't you know it? I forgot my entire collection of vintage Fiesta ware in the East Wing, the ones I was gonna let Sam borrow when she was in the dungeon. Could you be a dove and fetch them for me?
Not only has quarantine made you even more unbearable, but lazier at the same time.
Oh, Lance, quit your bitching. It's the least you could do. You had me locked up for a month when I was...
Okay, I'll get the damn Fiesta ware. What the fuck? What in the name of God?
Yes, in the immortal words of Edgar Allan Poe. Yes, in the name of God.
Stefan, get me out of here right now. This isn't funny. Stefan!
Oh no, my dear co-mister, this isn't funny. It's revenge. See you in a month.
Stefan!
And before we go, dear friends, I will leave you with this. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. Good night.